Hello everyone, Phoenix61 here with your daily dose of Legends shenanigans. We are in the Mysore today, so I'm going to play a real quick clip here of just some good moments, and then I'll go into a full game here too. So we've got this destroyer sort of cornered here, and as you can see, this game, I'm already down 3 ships. I don't have a lot of damage up on the board, right? So I'm in YOLO mode at this point for this game, and I know I'm like somewhat broadside to some other ships on the other side of the map, but anyway, we did have an opportunity to corner this destroyer and use our sonar to keep him spotted. So we're coming around the corner. We had such early warning on his torpedoes. The smoke screen's not going to save him because we're spotting him with sonar regardless, but he's in panic mode, like, oh no, I need an adult, right? So we'll finish him off, and then, so yeah, it's a great, destroyer hunter, right? You get only AP shells with this ship, and then, of course, if you do have nice, juicy broadside shots on cruisers, it can be a Citadel monster as well there. So, yeah, so we'll mess around with this Pensacola and finish him off here, hopefully. He does angle appropriately to us as he's trying to fight somebody else at the moment, right? So we kind of came around with the surprise attack on him as well. Tried to take a shot through the nose there, but yep, everything ricocheted, and then I couldn't quite get the rear turret to move quick enough. Turret traverse is a little slow, right? It's kind of, this is what 3 Citadel hits there. And then we should be able to finish. He is looking at us now, so we do take a pretty nasty beating from him there. But we went from 12,000 damage up to 46,000 just with those 2 ships, right? But anyway, so this month with the April update marks the anniversary of Legends, what have you, right? So the Mysore is a new ship to me because I've only been playing for 5 of the 6 years that the game has been out, right? So nice broadside shot on this cruiser. Like I said, if you do it right, even at range, we're getting some pretty gnarly hits here, right? Citadel hit there, and then he's going to try and escape. So I'm sure we're going to leave it just enough for somebody else to finish that guy off, but already doing better this game. But anyway, yeah. So so with this, April 2025 at the time of recording for this game, right? If you've been playing for 5 or more years, right? If you've been playing more than 5 years, you would have gotten the Mysore last year, I believe. There's a tier 6 ship that you would get this year, which of course I don't get because I'm not, I haven't been playing that long, right? But anyway, so if you're a 5-year guy like me, you should be there should be a freebie mission / reward thing in the store as a thank you for playing, giving Wargaming 5 years of your life and money, probably, right? So go pick that up, and you'll just instantly get the Mysore, and then some other goodies, and then a mission as well, which I believe is probably just play the ship a bunch too. So I've been playing it quite a bit when I got it on Monday, and so I was like, all right, we'll take a couple of games here and highlight them, right? So I ended up losing that first game as we were outnumbered quite early on. We lost a couple ships. There was like a division of like 3 destroyers, and they all stuck together and went one way and died. So so we have a little bit better luck this game. But right, so this is it's Commonwealth, I believe, cruiser, right? So you only get a couple of choices for commanders, and I'll go through. You can really use either cruiser commander, right? I think for Commonwealth, there's like the generic freebie guy. And then now we do have a destroyer commander with one of the recent updates. And then there's maybe one that's maybe a little bit better, right? There's some pros and cons to both of your free-to-play cruiser commanders. I don't have any paid people for this country, right? So, and I don't even know if there's any out there. But anyway, so I'll go through kind of your options of both builds. I do have the challenge there was I also have the Brisbane, right, which is your legendary tier cruiser for Commonwealth, and so it's kind of tough to decide which commander to use on which one, and if you even have the materials to have both of them upgraded, like that kind of stuff, right? So, but yeah, so with this ship, right, it's AP shells only, no torpedoes, tier 5, right? And the turrets turn a little slow. You're going to play this kind of like you would a lot of your other, like your British cruisers that only have AP shells, right? So just it's very similar to that, just a premium variant of it. It's good. I like it for tier 5. It's fun, right? It's one of those ships, like many ships in World of Warships Legends, that's you can do some good, and it can be a really great and powerful ship in the right hands. So yeah, I just have to consider that. We will go and focus on this destroyer since he's spotted. This is like I always say, this is the key to winning games right here, guys, right? We've got a destroyer player spotting an enemy destroyer, and we need to try and help eliminate said destroyer, because if we don't, then he could potentially go undetected the rest of the game, and you're screwed, right? So he does manage to finish off our destroyer. I think he got 1 or 2 torpedo hits on our allied guy, but we had just enough time to finish him off, which is unfortunate. We also lost ours. But that's going to leave us destroyerless for the rest of the game, which for this ship is kind of like disappointing, right? Ideally, you want to have somebody out there to do some spotting for you while you either use some cover or your smoke screen, right? So yeah, and then the smoke screen does take quite a bit of time to come back, right? The cooldown on it is pretty long. It is the crawling smoke, which is nice, so you can kind of move around within the smoke a little bit and get away with that. So that always has its advantages. But yeah, so we'll turn back in. We stopped firing our guns so that we would go undetected, because as you can see, yes, this is very much so a cruiser, just like many others, where there are some heavy hitting battleships out here that can just waste us, right? So what I wasn't expecting was to see a fellow Mysore charging up the middle here. So I'm going to try and get turned away from the battleships that are inevitably going to shoot at me. So there it comes, right? And see, yep, we get the ouchie sound and everything. I've only got a little bit. I've still got 15 seconds for my smoke. Somebody did help finish off the Mysore, but I'm going to be spotted for a little bit here. So I'm keeping an eye on the Tennessee and seeing if anybody else, seeing if there's any more bullets flying our direction while we go unspotted, right? So we're just going to not fire our guns, and in doing so, we go undetected here. So now we can reposition and potentially use our smoke screen if we need to. But yeah, we're up to 63,000 damage. I am using fully packed. I think the downside there is, right, it's kind of hard to get through all 3 smoke screens sometimes just because the cooldown is long. So you could use refill station. I think there's a good argument for refill station. It is nice having an extra heal though. The heals come back pretty good and they work fairly well as well, so that's nice. But yeah, I found myself struggling to get through all 3 smoke screens. And of course, we're not using the sonar because, well, all the destroyers are dead. There's one more. I think that initial cruiser, that Japanese torpedo cruiser, is still out there somewhere. I think once we did our work on him early in the game, he kind of took a backstage pass to the rest of the back of the map, strategy for the rest of the game here. But we'll drop the smoke, and you can see where we can just kind of work our way through and just kind of try and damage farm this Tennessee. It is one of those ones where, it's, you don't have the HE shells as an option, right? But we are doing pretty decent damage against the Tennessee here. You just kind of got to aim high, right? Aim for superstructure or like the higher up on the hull, right? Upper plating, whatever you want to call it. Because you're not gonna do a lot of punching through on the battleships, right? And you're not gonna get those citadel hits, right? Works great on cruisers, right? Well, what have you, but yeah, you're gonna wanna. Most part, I'm finding myself aiming high on the battleships. Mutsu B, so we'll start pushing up, right? We've got a little bit of a ship advantage here. We've got 1 ship more than them at this point. I've got some allies capturing C, so we'll go over and try and just kind of put ourselves in a position to be able to fire at these remaining enemies. The second the Nikolai gets spotted, we of course can't, he goes unspotted, or the second he gets in range, he goes undetected here. So we'll pick on him, and we do get picked up there. Smoke screen's going to run out, that's fine. And yeah, like I said, it's like almost 4 minutes for the cooldown, so we potentially, if it does get cooled down, there's only going to be like 1 or 2 minutes left in the game anyway, right? So it's kind of what I was getting at with that. But we'll continue to try and just use some islands to keep us out of line of sight of these remaining ships. Got an Arpeggio Haruna out there that we could potentially shoot here soon. This is where I was going to say, like, that it's going to be a little bit tougher, some of these, depending on the armor scheme of these ships, right? I noticed firing at this Haruna, we're getting a lot of, yeah, like not a lot of damage, right? A lot of bounces and busted shells and stuff like that. So we would need probably at least decent angle, yeah, bounces and misses, yeah. Aiming better always is helpful, right? So we'll just keep some island cover between us and him while our battleships do the heavy lifting as far as spotting, because as you know, we're made of explodium cruiser that can die quite easily from a battleship. So we'll just continue to try and pick on him. Yep, lots more bounces. We're probably hitting turrets there, so I tried aiming a little bit higher. It'll get a little bit easier as he comes in closer. Go with solid 743 damage there. And then this will be a little bit better, right? Because we can hit the like higher up on the hull and upper plating, right? So you get a little bit more damage out of that, right? So that's always beneficial there. We'll go in, move up and chase him down. It looks like it's going to be him left, and then the cruiser, and who knows where he went. So I'll fast forward a little bit of the end of the game while we hunt down the cruiser. Think we maybe nab the kill on this Haruna. Let's see here. Got a little bit better shot here. Yep, there we go with that. Great. So then, yep, I'm gonna fast forward through the rest of this here. Yeah, because you know everybody's heading towards where he was last spotted, right? But he ends up coming all the way around B over here and sneaks back into B, which is like, right, fine. Like that's kind of a smart thing to do. Like, right, I do this in a lot of my games where, you know, if I take those bad hits or I'm low on health, do what you can, right? Like in the remaining minutes of the game, like, right, if going out and being sneaky, spotting ships, sending torpedoes, and capping zones is all you can really do because you don't have a lot of health left, right? Do that, right? So we managed to get a hit on him there, but the Congo finishes him off. So I'll go through the leaderboard really quick here, and then I'll kind of get into your commander options, right? I really think you could use either or here, but 2300 XP, that does put us at the top of the board for that game. Walked away with a decent amount of credits for Tier 5, right? And then this was very, very early on, first week of the newer campaign, right? And so I'm using aiming system, right? This is, you know, guns through and through, right? Like, and yeah, steering gears. And then, yeah, so I'm using Morion here, and I'm actually kind of debating whether to switch it to the other guy, because you do get, you know, there's only a handful of commanders for this country anyway, but Harold I think might actually be a better choice here. So I'll go through what I'm using right now, right? I've got Andrew the Lip for inspirations. If you don't have him, honestly, AP shells, right? Anything buffing AP shells, or even you could go accuracy, right? So any of the free to play commanders out there, AP shell damage or better shell grouping or better dispersion, right? And then I've got Nikolay on there as well. He's free to play just for better range, because you don't get beyond range as an option on this first row. And you don't want to pick any, you don't have torpedoes and you don't have HE shells. So if you're using this guy, you better be using the no-fly zone. Otherwise, it's a wasted perk. I always shy away from before it's too late. If you've got sonar, just use your sonar correctly, right? But crisscross is going to be a good option, or you could go concealment, right? So either of those two there is what I would suggest picking. Like, either is fine. I went movement speed here. Obviously, don't pick the torpedo one because you don't have torpedoes. You could go on second thought just for a little bit better reload there, but you do you. And then I picked the smoke perk here and fully packed for the legendary perk. But like this guy's kind of been in limbo because I haven't played Brisbane in a while, but he's got quite a bit more options as far as using the usability of the smoke, right? So better reload time here, and then some perks about firing guns within smoke. So he might be a better choice, right? I'm right now I was using him on my Brisbane, but you could put beyond range here, then you get this shell from the ghost, right? Better range and shell grouping while in smoke, right? Plus this one, right? So like you kind of see where this is going, right? And he's also got more like AP shell damage stuff too, right? He's got punch through. Yeah, so I would pick probably, if you wanted to use him, I think he's probably better. Use those AP shell centric inspirations, not the guys that I have here. And then, yeah, pick punch through on this row, right? So beyond range top row, probably his shell from the ghost for the second row, and then punch through for the third row, and then probably smoke on the water in this last row, and then either refill station or fully packed. Like I said, it's tough to get through all three smoke screens, but I don't know, maybe it'd be a little bit better. But yeah, so I was using Herald on my Brisbane because you do get smoke, your choice of smoke or radar with Brisbane. You used to not get smoke as an option on that one, right? But so yeah, that's why he's kind of like a hodgepodge of a build right now. And I had even changed out an inspiration, so I don't even have this one ready to go yet. But yeah, so I think either commander is fine. I'd maybe use that second one and then pick those smoke perks and AP shell perks, and that's probably the better choice. But yeah, so but that's at least how I was playing it for my first couple of games with the ship. Yeah, but thanks again for watching my video all the way through here, guys. Please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I do appreciate that. Still kind of a small channel, so I do actually notice when one or two of you push the subscribe button, and I'm like, yay, okay. But anyway, yeah, I try to do Legends videos every day, so yeah, if you're following, we'll see you guys tomorrow.